Hi everyone, Sabrina here from Scrappy Tales Crafts, and today I'm going to be showing you two cards that I created with this Sunny Studios Critter Campout stamp set. It's really cute. I created two masculine themed cards. One of them I gave to my father-in-law for Father's Day, and one I'm going to give to my dad on his birthday, which is coming up. So you can really create these cards for any occasion, not just Father's Day, but I did choose to color my images in more neutrals, masculine colors. So it is perfect to give to a man in your life. So here you can see I stamped out the images from the stamp set twice, and that's because I'm creating two cards. I'm going to color them in with my Copics. I stamped all the images with Memento Tuxedo black ink on 110-pound white Nina cardstock. Both the paper and the ink that I used are alcohol friendly, so they work well with the Copics. The ink is not going to smear, and the paper blends the ink very nicely. So I decided to leave in the coloring. And that is because I colored differently than I normally do. Because I wanted to create a campfire scene, I wanted it to be dark, and I wanted to create a night scene. So I thought it would be cool if I had the campfire be my light source, and if the animals would had a light, like a light casting on them. So you're gonna see I'm going to add yellow to each of my critters. So I'm first going to color the marshmallows and the hot dogs, and then I'm going to explain how I colored one of these critters. So this fox here, I'm going to start by mapping out, using my darkest marker, the shadow areas. And then I'm going to take my midtone, and the caps are listed on the screen. So this is how I normally would color. I start with my darkest marker, use my midtone next, and now I'm going over the center area with my lightest marker as my highlight. Now I wanted my fox to have black feet and black ears, so I'm just using a dark gray marker for that. And here you can see I'm taking my Y18 marker and I'm adding that to the tip of his nose and his tail because he will be facing the campfire towards the left side. So the light is going to be facing the left side of his body. So I will show you now with this hedgehog. I skipped through some of the other animals. I want to do another video with this, with it slowed down, but I figured because this is a hop, I didn't want it to be super long. But for this hedgehog, I wanted him to be holding a flashlight. So I'm actually going to cast that yellow color right into his face because I want him to be holding the flashlight right at his face. So that is where I just added that yellow marker. So I basically colored the same way as I always do, but I added that yellow marker. So for the bear, you can see I started with the yellow marker first, and that was because I found that I lost the yellow if I already added my dark color over it, and I wanted the yellow to be more vibrant, I guess. So here I added the yellow first, and then I went to my darkest marker down to my lightest. Here on the sleeping bag, I forgot to add the yellow. So here I'm trying to add the yellow over the darker marker, and you can see it's a lot harder. So if you wanted to do this technique, I recommend mapping out that highlight before adding your darker marker. But here you can see how the bottom of the bear's face has a yellow glow to it, and that's because he's going to be above the fire. So that's going to cast a light from below him. So I fast forward through the tent, and now I'm going to show you the trees. Again, the trees are going to be above the fire, so I'm adding that yellow marker to the bottom of the trees. And then I'm going to start with my darkest marker, then my midtone, and then I'll carry my lightest marker all the way up to the yellow. And I'm even going to go back over those areas with the yellow marker to ensure that I have that bright yellow highlight. So off camera, I went ahead and die cut all of those images, and now I'm going to start my first card, and I'm going to be creating a slimline. So recently I went to Hobby Lobby and I finally purchased some more Distress Oxide inks. They were actually 40% off, so I took advantage of that, and I finally, after like 2 years of owning my 12 Distress Oxide inks, decided to buy 12 more. So I'm using, I don't even know, bundled sage and pine needles. And I'm just very quickly adding the ink. You can see I'm not doing any careful blending. I'm actually going to be die cutting this panel, which I cut from a Trinity Stamp Stitch Rectangle Slimline die. I'm going to be cutting hills out of this panel, and I wanted the sides of those hills to have that stitching. So here I'm actually even adding some black soot to the bottom of my green. This is the pine needles. I just wanted to add some darkness. Again, I'm creating a night scene, so I'm trying to make it as dark as possible. So that blend looks pretty good. I'm now going to spray it with some water. And then I'll leave it on that panel for a little bit, a few seconds, and then I'll blot up those splatters with a paper towel. And here I die cut another stitch rectangle die from that Trinity Stamps die set, and I'm going to create my sky with it. I'm going to be using Blueprint Sketch, Chip Sapphire, and Black Soot, again creating a really dark sky. And I'm only going to ink up the top half of this panel because the grass is going to cover the bottom, or the hillsides will. Again, I sprayed some water. And then I'm going to take my pearlescent white watercolor and a paintbrush and splatter some stars into my sky. I'm just using my finger and a paintbrush to make those. And I've been doing that a lot lately on my cards. I really like the shimmer that that watercolor adds. So now I'm going to work on the sentiments for both of my cards. I chose Life with You is an Adventure. And I am white heat embossing that onto some black cardstock, and I'll just freehand cut those out. Here you can see I went ahead and cut out my stitched hillsides. I did use another Trinity Stamps die for that, and now I'm going to arrange them and my die cuts onto this panel. And I love that on a slimline card base you can really put a lot of images onto a card. You're going to see I'm going to create pretty much the exact same scene on an A2 card base, and I was not able to use all the images from the stamp set. I think I had to take off one of the critters, and then the trees, I didn't even use those. So I really have been enjoying creating the slimline cards. I know it's a huge trend right now. So I wanted to have 3 of the critters, you know, cooking up their hot dogs and marshmallows. So I have 3 of them around the campfire. I have the little hedgehog talking to the snail, I guess telling him scary stories with a flashlight in his face. I have the little bear sleeping next to the tent, which I think is so cute. I love that each critter kind of serves a purpose in the scene, and I just really love this stamp set. So you can see I die cut a dad word die. This is an Anna Griffin die. And again, I just added that to make it into a Father's Day card. You can change it to mom, or you can add the person's name that you want to give it to. You can see that I die cut that dad word from black cardstock and gold foil cardstock. And I'm going to offset those two. And I just wanted the black underneath to help it stand out against that dark sky. Now I'm going to trim down these hillsides. I didn't want them to overlap too much because I want the front 2 hillsides to be popped up with foam tape. So here I'm going to just play around with that dad word die, trying to figure out if I just want the gold or if I want to add the black. I will end up adding the black. I think that looks nice. So now I'm going to assemble the scene, and I wanted the hillside in the front to be double foam mounted, so I'm using a foam tape that is basically the width of 2 foam tapes attached together. The middle hillside, I just added a single mounted foam tape, so it's not quite as tall as the one in front of it. And then for the last hillside in the back, I'm just going to glue that one down with art glitter glue. So that's just going to add some nice dimension to this card. So I'm just going to assemble this scene. You're going to notice that some of the die cuts I will pop up with foam tape, others I will glue directly down with glue. But as I assemble this scene, I'm going to talk a little bit about the hop that this video is a part of. This video is to celebrate Catherine Kelly's 1,000 subscriber milestone. I think it's really great that new small channels are surpassing that 1,000 mark. And I've been subscribed to Catherine for a few months now. I really like her card making style. Her videos are very enjoyable to watch. Sometimes she has story times in her videos, which are my favorites personally to watch. And yeah, I think it's amazing that she has surpassed 1,000. And this is just a hop to celebrate that. And there's going to be plenty of giveaways along the way. It is a hashtag driven hop. So if you click the hashtag in my title or in the description, it will take you to a list of all the video or all the creators that are participating in this hop, and it will also link to their videos. So if you want to be entered into the chance to win a prize from one of the sponsors in the beginning of the video, then all you have to do is be subscribed to Catherine, consider subscribing to other creators in the hop if you enjoy their content, and then to also leave a comment on each of the videos. The more times that you comment, the better the chances you are at winning something. Also, be sure to specify where you live, since some of the prizes are only for people who live in the US, but there are also some gift cards that can be given away for people who don't live in the US. And I think that's it. I think that's all the information about the giveaways. Basically, the hop theme was to be inspired by Catherine, and she does a lot of inky backgrounds, so that is why I did some ink blending on today's card. She also works with a lot of cute critters, so I thought this was a perfect stamp set for this hop. Alright, so now I'm going to talk about the card again. I pretty much assembled the entire scene, and now I'm gluing down the sentiment. I glued down Dad with art glitter glue, and I'm going to pop up the white heat emboss sentiment with foam tape. And then I cut a black mat that's going to cover completely my slimline card base, which I cut my slimlines to be 7.5 by 8 3/4, and I score at 3 3/4. So I added that black mat, and now I'm going to adhere the stitch rectangle right on top. So there is a 1/4 inch border all along, and I really like adding black to dark night scenes. So now I'm going to show you basically the same card, but in the A2 size version. I'm going to attach some hillsides onto this 4 by 5 1/4 inch panel. And I created the hillsides the exact same way with the same Distress Oxide inks. I'm going to pop up the hillside that's on the front, and then I'll glue down the one that's on the back flat with art glitter glue. The sky I did create the same way as I did on my last card, so I didn't show you guys that again. So now I'm going to take my die cuts and assemble pretty much the exact same scene. I really liked on my last card the way that these 3 critters looked around the campfire, so I decided to do that again. But here you can see the canvas is much smaller, so I can't use all the critters. I think I end up taking the raccoon off of this one. So I'm going to pop up the tent. I'm going to glue that little bear right in front of it. And then for this deer, I wanted it to be level with the hillside, so I'm going to add some foam tape behind his head and some art glitter glue behind the log that he's sitting on. I'm going to give these critters their marshmallows and hot dogs. I think that's so cute. And I'll admit, I don't like camping. I've never actually been camping. I don't think I ever will, just because I don't like bugs, and for some reason I attract all the mosquitoes. If I'm outside for more than like 30 seconds, I will get eaten alive. So that's the main reason I've never been camping. But glamping is a new thing. Let me know if you guys know what that is. I think it's basically glamorous camping, and you sleep in an RV or in a cabin, but you still have the fun aspects of camping, like the s'mores, but you're not sleeping on dirt. It's like glamorous camping, and I definitely would consider doing that. But yeah, my dad's gonna think this card or my last card, I ended up giving him the slimline. He's going to think it's a little bit random, but he's still going to love it because dads love anything that's handmade. So you can see I did add a black mat behind that panel. And I was looking at my slimline again, and I felt like that area beneath the tent was a little bit bare. So I'm going to take a skunk and tuck him in. I'm also going to give him a flashlight, which I thought was adorable. It kind of looks like the skunk is looking in that direction and shining his light at something. Really cute. So here are the 2 cards that I created. Congratulations, Catherine, on reaching that 1,000 subscriber milestone. You're already past that. I'm sure very soon you will reach 2,000. Remember, if you want to participate in the giveaways, all the information will be listed down below. Thanks again so much for watching, and if you like this video, please consider subscribing. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section and I will be sure to respond to you as soon as I can. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!